Hello, this is Alessandrina. I hope you can hear me well. There's a lot of wind here today. And today I'm going to talk about change. And oftentimes we'll feel like we want to change. We want something in our lives to change. We want to experience a feeling of change or transformation. And we can have this intention, we can have this idea in our mind of changing. And in this process, we may not register that our energy, the energy of change, is not actually happening. We can imagine, I want this change. I'm going to work on this change. I'm going to create this change. And we can spend a lot of time and energy thinking we're changing or that we want to change, intending to change, and then it's not necessarily happening. And we see that because the things that we intend, the things that we want, they don't manifest. Or we stay stuck in the same thinking loops or emotional loops, the same cycles, the same patterns and habits. So you can be sure that if you're not actually receiving the things that you want most, or if you're not clearing the biggest patterns, if they keep coming back, you can be sure that change has not actually occurred. That maybe mentally there's been this idea of change and this desire for change, and ultimately in your energy it hasn't really happened. So once you realize that you may have thought that you were changing, that you were open to change, that you were experiencing some form of change, and once you realize that it's not actually happening in your energy, there's still feelings of lack and separation, and that's just to be more generic. Of course, everyone has a different experience of this lack and separation. For some people, it has to do with relationships. For some people, it's their health. Other people, it's their career or money. So wherever we experience these feelings, this energy of lack and separation, it means that we're not changing. We're not allowing ourselves to transform, to truly open up to a new possibility. Oftentimes what people will do is they'll try to change from where they're at. And again, that's going to be a mental process more than a true process of change. Rather than really vulnerably, humbly, and in a way that feels sometimes exposed, meaning unsafe, allowing ourselves to cultivate and to resonate with the energies of what we do want. So of the change that we want to experience, rather than thinking that it's going to be a gradual process, just being there. And it's difficult because the reason why we don't change is this resistance. We have different fears from the past. And so they influence, our capacity to be in that other energy. And we fear the energy of the past so much that we focus on that. And therefore we don't experience change because we're in the energy of the past. We're focusing on the past, focusing on what we don't want, focusing on A rather than B. If we want to go to B, we're focusing on A. How can we be in B if we're focusing on A? It's going to take a long time, a lot of energy, a lot of resources, rather than just really bravely taking the stance, the position, the experiencing, essentially, of just being in the energy of what you do want. And just being in there as often as you can. And then you're experiencing change because you're now in a different energy state. You are allowing yourself vulnerably to, again, experience that energy which you want. So that is change. And I hope that you can achieve this change, that you can embrace this change, and that you recognize and realize the value of this change. Sending you lots of love.